All right. All set?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming. Today is May 19th, 6 o'clock, our Board of Trustees regular meeting.
We'll call the roll. Let's see, Mr. Crandall?
Here.
Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Simcoe here. Mr. Genowine is not here. He's out of town.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Susan, do we have any, approval of the minutes? Were there any questions or issues on that last month?
I'll move approval.
Second?
Okay, we'll call the roll. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. And then, Susan, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
We have two tonight. We have 15057, which is authorizing the execution of the safety township contracts.
Okay.
And 15060, authorizing the road service superintendent or supervisor to hire a utility worker.
Okay, great. And then that's
We'll
the
do those
resolution
under
that I
those
have
sections.
Here. Okay, wonderful. Thanks. Chief, we've got a special occasion today, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's hear about it.
Okay, great. If we can have Aaron come to the front, please, and his wife, Laura. We have two items going on. Come on up, Laura. You got to get in the limelight too. You're going to have to pin them here. This is Captain Aaron Fry. Captain Aaron Fry was hired by the Svaney Township Fire Department as a firefighter paramedic on August 18, 2003, and has served with all three shifts and all four stations. As a firefighter paramedic, he mainly worked at stations number 3 and 4. Aaron has had some adversity during his time with us. Unfortunately, he was one of the 3 firefighters that were laid off in January of 2007, and he was recalled to work in July of 2008. When he returned to the job, he had a new fire and passion for the fire service. He took on many new tasks and projects for the department and studied for the promotional exam, and in April of 2011 was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. He served at Station 2 on Engine 62. In 2014, Aaron concentrated on another goal he had and tested for the position of training captain. He was officially promoted to training captain on April 21, 2015. Captain Fry will oversee the Fire Department Training Bureau, serve as the department's training safety officer. He will develop, schedule, and implement training activities for all personnel, expand the officer development program, respond to emergency incidents, and function as the incident safety officer. He will be responsible for the implementing and overall safety of the entire operations of the fire department, and he will investigate all incidents involving off-duty injuries. Captain Fry is a State of Ohio fire instructor, certified fire safety inspector, incident safety officer, certified both in Fire Officer 1 and Fire Officer 2, and just recently Captain Fry was accepted into the charter member of the National Fire Academy's Managing Officer Program. This is a multi-year curriculum that introduces rising emergency service leaders to personal and professional skills in management, risk reduction, and adaptive leadership. The inaugural Managing Officer class consisted of 53 members. The fire and EMS officers were selected out of 300 highly competitive applicants, and I'm proud to say that he's one of those 53 that's currently participating in that program. Aaron and his wife Laura have been married 18 years, and they reside in Sylvania with their 3 daughters. Stand up, girls. It's traditional in the fire service to have the wife or the girlfriend pin. His girlfriend's not here tonight. Pin the badge on Aaron. So if you will do the honors, Laura. Don't hurt him. He has to go to work tomorrow. Now it's official, Captain Fry.
All right.
I have one more item I'd like to get to real quick before we go around and shake everybody's hands. Oh, go ahead. That's fine. Come on up, Mike. I have one more real quick item. I'll be brief. Mike Behan and Jim Wolf. Jim Wolf just went on an emergency call. He was assigned to the Life Squad today, so unfortunately he wanted to be here, but duty called, so he wasn't able to be here. Mike Behan and Jim Wolf, with the help of Deputy Chief Mike Graham, were instrumental in writing an Assistance to Firefighters grant for the fire department. This helped secure over $82,000 for the purchase of our new fire hose. The fire department is required to pressure test and inspect all of our hose on a yearly basis, and every year we have hose that fails the pressure test and no longer meets the inspection standards. By obtaining this grant, the fire department only have to spend $8,200 to purchase $90,000 worth of hose. With this grant, we'll be able to replace all of our tack lines, 1 3/4 and 2.5 lines, and also we'll be able to replace some 5 lines. I would like to commend Mike Behan and Jim Wolf for their efforts in securing this grant. Completion. You're still at the fire? Still cleaning up, okay. And I got one more thing going on. Jennifer Behan, you could come front and center, please. Stand next to your significant other there. Uh-oh. You know, fire service personnel, they usually marry doctors, they marry nurses, or somebody in the medical field, and it doesn't. These are people of service to the community, and Jennifer is a nurse. And Jennifer Behan Jennifer Behan neighbor, Jennifer Behan, an off-duty nurse, on April 15, 2015, did in fact render CPR life-saving emergency care to an unconscious civilian who suffered cardiac arrest in the yard of his home. These actions exemplify the true dedication and outstanding professionalism in the medical field that is keeping up with the highest traditions and standards of the Sylvania Township Fire Department. Congratulations. And she did help save that gentleman's life.
Wow.
Very nice.
Great news. Thanks, Chief.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mike. Thanks for helping. Appreciate it. Okay. Moving on. The hearing of the public on any agenda items only. I know we've got a few folks here tonight. Not sure if anybody signed in for tonight. Okay.
Zoning Department.
Zoning Department. Daryl?
Thanks, Chief. I always love having to follow up after that. The monthly report for April for the Zoning Department. Pretty much, as far as permits, we were right in line with the previous years. We had 49 permits for the month and estimated value of $4.1 million. Year to date, again, we're pretty much running with the previous 2 years. We're at 121 permits issued and $10.5 million of estimated value. On single-family dwelling permits, we continue to increase over last year. We have 31 year-to-date. That's a 15% increase, and that's at an estimated value of $7.1 million, and that's almost a 20% increase from last year. On complaints to the Zoning Department, we had 16 for the month of April, and brings us up to 35 year-to-date, which is a little bit higher than the previous 2 years. On monthly meetings, the BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals, had a variance request for a swimming pool setback, which they approved. Zoning Commission did not meet. There was nothing on the agenda. And then project plan review had the Myers Auto Wash that's going to be coming in at the corner of Central Park West and Central Avenue, and then the Yark BMW expansion on Central Avenue. And then I just have 2 quick little items of note. CarMax has received a 2-year extension on their project plan review that they obtained in 2013. This is a one-time extension. It's kind of unusual. We generally don't have anybody asking for an extension on PPR. Pretty much within 2 years, they construct the project. So we sent it out to all the agencies for review again, and nobody really had any comments. There's no change in the plans. So this is a one-time approval for 2 years, and construction must begin by April 30th of 2017, or they'll have to begin the process from the beginning all over again. So hopefully by then, they'll at least have started construction. And then the other item, just always want to kind of give a shout-out to any new businesses in the township. Polished Nail Bar, or Nail Salon at 7000 Central Avenue. That's over by the Kinko's. They've obtained their commercial interior renovation permit and expect to open soon. And that's all I have.
All right. Thanks for all your effort, Daryl. Hey, Chief, just a thought, but if the Fries or the Behans wanted to leave and take pictures, I know there's kids that might have homework and things that you guys got to do. You're more than welcome to stay, but you're also more than welcome to leave if that's okay with you. Yeah. So if you like sticking around, you're more than welcome to. But dinner's on. Kids are probably thinking, what do we have for dinner tonight? So.
They were staying for the zoning report, I think.
Yeah, well, they wanted to hear Daryl thing. Yeah, I know. I get that. So. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Mr. Mahoney.
Congratulations.
Mr. Mahoney, if I have my monthly report to give, if you don't, either one of you have any questions, I would like to just have you accept the monthly report as is, and I could go also.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Taking up too much of your time.
Congrats.
Good evening. I'd like to first start for the road department. There should be a copy of Resolution 15060 that's not on the agenda. It was addition. Should be a copy on your podium for you.
Okay, so.
It was an addition to the agenda.
Yes, and I'm looking at, I'm sorry, here.
It should be a hard copy up there for you.
I just have 57 and 60. I know you gave it to me, too.
It's okay.
Rob. Thank you. Okay, so this is a resolution 1560 to authorize the road superintendent to hire a utility worker.
Correct.
Okay. I'll offer that resolution.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
I had a chance today to chat about this new hire. Sounds like they really did a good job. We had well over a dozen that went through the first screening. Would you have a couple dozen, I think? And the first screening was a dozen.
We had 2 hiring processes. We had a couple dozen each time, and we weeded out through the interview processes. Myself and the foreman did interviews, and then the assistant administrator did interviews.
Sounds
with
like we did a pretty good process on this.
Good work on it, Rob.
Thank you
Yep.
and Susan for your work.
Next on the list would be the Resolution 15-058, award bid and enter into contract for the 2015 curb repair project. This project is located in the St. James subdivision area.
I'll offer resolution 15058, enter contract in the concrete curb repair project.
Second?
Call the roll. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And the next item would be Resolution 15-056, authorization to install no parking signs on New West Road.
Are we putting that on the north or south side where the fire hydrants are? I know
The
that.
authorization asked to put on the north side, so the whole north side up to the center of the cul-de-sac and the far west end of the road would be no parking. That is the same side as the fire hydrant, so emergency services vehicles could still obtain access to that. And then up to 100 or 200 feet would be where another sign installation would be on the south side. So that would clear the intersection to exit and enter off of King Road.
Great.
I've spoken with some of the property owners and the tenants of some of the commercial businesses, and for the majority of them, they're all in favor of the no parking.
Rob's done a nice job.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
There's
John.
5 or 6 companies.
Yeah.
And I was been by there half a dozen times.
I posted some white paint out there where the tentative signs would be installed. So if anybody,
Actually, this week, most of them are following the
Yeah.
recommendation already. So
Great.
I think that's been a good effort to communicate with these businesses.
notification letters were sent out, and I also spoke with a good majority of the owners on the road, and to include the developer.
I'll offer Resolution 15056 to install no parking signs.
Second,
Call the roll. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
yes.
That's all I have, sir.
Good work, Rob, on
Thank
that. That took a lot of work. Appreciate your effort.
Good job, Rob, even though the fire department didn't want to stay.
And then we've got the chief. Hi, chief.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
You have before you the monthly report for April, and I'll make this very brief so our night doesn't have to be any longer. Page 2, you can see the calls that came into dispatch. I will note that that totaled almost 8,500 total calls into dispatch. Page 3, calls for service. You can see at the top of the sheet, we're actually down from year-to-date last year in calls for service, but we're up in traffic citations, down in property damage accidents a little bit, up a little bit in injury accidents. But of note, even though we're down in calls for service, we are unfortunately way up in a number of major offense categories like burglaries, robberies, and assaults and such. Hopefully that'll level out, but maybe not for a while with summer coming, because summer tends to be our busiest time. Page 4, you can see our prisoner transport cost analysis. That's our contract with the city, and we continue to do very well on that, incurring minimal overtime versus what they pay us by contract. Page 5 are the crime reports throughout the township, and you'll see that Central Avenue and Monroe Street continue to be hot spots. As I've said before, Walmart is a district in itself. We also have that clothing store up on Monroe Street, Gabe's, which generates a lot of activity. But you'll see there the occurrences and the predominant locations. Page 6, as far as our accidents and DUI arrests, again, Central Avenue and Monroe Street, as you might expect, are the focus. Holland, Sylvania is also a street in which we incur a lot of accidents. Page 7, detective caseload stats. I won't read off all the numbers, but you can see the number of cases that were assigned, cleared, remain active, and the number of cases cleared from previous months for the total clearance rate, all in the far right-hand column. Page 8, just a short synopsis of the activities of our detective that's assigned to the DEA task force. Of note, they seized $70,000 worth of U.S. currency. That paragraph there describes how they came to make that seizure. Page 9, with a very slow month for the canine officer. It was basically an emphasis on the end of the month. Officer Charest needed to get Speedy recertified, so they put a lot of effort in preparing Speedy for that recertification. Page 10. Just activities of note in community affairs. We started the Citizens Police Academy mid-month. In fact, their graduation, it runs 6 weeks. Their graduation is tonight. And we participated in the Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday the 25th, like a lot of local agencies. DARE at Stranahan is wrapping up this week. In fact, graduation is this Thursday, and it finishes for the school year, all the elementary schools. You can see the speed trailer placement at one location. We're not getting a lot of complaints yet, but again, warm weather is just setting in, so I expect we'll probably get a lot more. And Page 11 is just our fine share, our revenue from Sylvania Court, and then page 12 is our training thus far. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Chief, I'm wondering, I've got a lot of calls and comments on the construction at Central and Sylvania. I'm
Yes.
assuming you're getting them too.
Yeah, I had one guy send me a whole bunch of photos and everything else.
The shortcutting through the neighborhood, I'm assuming you're on that, giving that extra attention in your patrols.
You know, I haven't. Last fall, I heard about complaints of them cutting through the neighborhood, especially the neighborhood to the northeast, Waldmar, Van Fleet, those. But I haven't heard those, so I'll note that. I haven't heard that this spring
Neil,
yet.
have you had?
Yeah, I have.
I'm
but-
getting calls,
Okay.
comments. It's, I'm not even.
Mine's been more the businesses on Sylvania with the
Maybe
turnarounds and the.
I'm not. It's an ODOT decision. I'm not sure why
No, I
they
get it.
had to do what they
I
did.
think their maintenance of traffic there. I understand it's a construction zone, but, well, you've got one lane.
Well, I noticed. I don't know if you were through there today, but they were laying the top coat of pavement. They got it through the intersection there on Central Avenue. When I was through there about 2:00, it wasn't on Holland, Sylvania.
Well,
So hopefully they'll.
that means they're probably wrapping up.
But we'll watch those. I'll get out a memo to Road Patrol as far as the neighborhoods around there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Susan?
You have a request for a liquor permit transfer. This is at 7865 West Central. It's a transfer from Sylvania Market to Advanced Radiation Medicine. It's been reviewed by both the police department and the fire department, and they have no issues. So as you recall, you don't have
We'll need
to
to-
take any action unless you want a hearing on that. Okay? Then, as I told you earlier, I have Resolution 15057 is to authorize the execution of safety township contracts.
Okay, I'll offer resolution 15057, the safety township contracts.
Second?
We'll call the roll. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll have you sign those contracts then after the meeting.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay, next is fiscal officer.
You know, I did note the agenda, and I did approve the agenda, but it doesn't have on it it's the time of the month where we do the month-end analysis, and so I'm just going to provide the month-end analysis on our figures. At least I didn't get it on my draft agenda. I've got the draft. Is it on the regular one? Okay. Well, whatever. We'll go ahead with it here, but this is a month-end analysis for April of 2015, and if you look at the numbers, last month the numbers were just off a little bit because we didn't have all of our monies in, and so they look slightly different from the 2014 numbers, but you can kind of see that our numbers are now starting to even out. The general fund is only a little different because we had received an estate from the state inheritance tax, and that's why the general fund was up a little bit in 14 vis-a-vis this year in 15. But if you look at all the other numbers, our revenue anyway is looking good. It's up slightly in each one of our departments, and so we're pleased with that. But it's actually pretty consistent with what we really are expecting in our numbers. And the number that we always watch is, as you know, are our expenditures, and we do watch them monthly, looking for anything that's deviating from what we would normally be really expecting in that. And as you can see, in number one, they're tracking 14, so we think that that's good. And they're all slightly down on our expenditures too. In that, and this is something that, of course, we all like to see this as trustees and fiscal department. But we're starting to see the budget taking just a little bit of shape. I think our numbers are, at this point, are looking very good for 2015, both on the revenue side, which we watch that, but we really watch our expenditures, and that's what we focus on, keeping our expenditures in line. And as I've said a number of times, it's reflective of administration. Sometimes it's a bottom-up thing because the departments themselves they can have a significant impact on expenditures. And for the last couple of years, all of our departments are mindful of expenditures, and we're working as a team on this to keep our expenditures under control. And I think it's reflected in our numbers up there that the departments are working hard at this. There's not a debate between the administration and the department heads and the trustees. We work together to keep our expenditures down, and so these numbers are good at this time of the year. So I don't have anything else to say. If you have any questions for me, I can.
I think Dave, you do a great job with this as fiscal officer too. So that's
Well, thanks, Bill.
making sure we're in line.
We are.
I can sleep at night.
Well, we've got a good department. That's a credit to Scott Smith, who has joined us and is in the fiscal department, and we have a number of good employees in there that are working hard on these things. And so,
we have a resolution there?
Yeah, we have one resolution, and it's just resolution 15-059, and it is the air conditioner unit needs to be replaced in the computer and electrical systems room at the police department, and it was not in the original budget, and so we have to replace that unit. So I would request a motion, a resolution to that effect.
I'll move we approve Resolution 15-059.
Second.
I'll call the roll. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Okay, I have nothing else.
Anything on open discussion of the board?
I did put some minutes in your end basket. I attended a meeting with the county engineer and our staff on working cooperatively on road and bridge, mostly road projects.
Nice.
On maintenance and capital improvement. I put a copy of the minutes in your end basket, and Mr. Genuine, I'll send you a follow-up email.
Okay, thank you.
Any hearing of the public?
Do we have anybody that'd like to hearing of the public for non-agenda items? Nobody? Okay.
The next two items on the agenda are a third step grievance hearing and a disciplinary hearing, and by the consent of the parties.
Hey, hold on, Dave. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
I have a question about the discussion of merging the township with the city. And how
Could you do me one favor? I would need you, and forgive me for not mentioning this before. I'll have you sign in, and then if I can have you go up to the DS up there and just give your name and address, and it's only for the record that we have it. That's kind of why we do that. So you're more than welcome to come on up, sign something. Come on up. Make yourself at home. All right. Chandler Riley.
I have a question about the discussion of combining the township with the city and how you feel about that.
Wow, that's a good question.
I'll try. It's been voted on twice. Both times it was overwhelmingly defeated in the township. And both were initiated by the city or by citizens committees, mainly in the city. I don't know of anything. I don't know what you hear in the community, Neil, but I'm not hearing anyone talk about that at this time. We are working closer with the city and sharing services and talking about what we can do jointly, but I don't know of any. I haven't heard any talk of that in the community recently.
Okay.
It's a great question, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up and asking it. Okay, David, where were we?
Well, we were.
Thank you again, Chandler.
on the agenda, there's a third step grievance hearing and a disciplinary hearing, and the parties, Ms. Tam and the township, have agreed that we would address both of these matters in executive session. And so we'll be going into executive session to address both of these issues. And so we will need a motion to do that. Whether or not there'll be action after the executive session, we don't really know.
Okay.
And so we would need a motion to go into executive session for the third step grievance hearing, the disciplinary hearing, and for personnel decisions in the police department, discipline.
Okay.
I'll move approval to go into executive session for a third step grievance hearing.
Second?
Now, would that also be for the third step grievance hearing and the disciplinary hearing,
Both, I'm sorry.
Mr.
The
Crandall?
third step grievance hearing and the disciplinary.
And for the matter listed under number 9 on the agenda for personnel issues. So okay, I'll call the roll then. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And we are going into executive session at, looks like 6:36.
We have decided to hold the executive session in this room, so we're going to have to ask for everyone else to clear the room.
Join me up there, David?
Yeah.
Are you
It should be. I'll sit right
I'd like to offer at 9:39, out of executive session.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
I'll move adjournment.
Second.
At 9:39 too, all right. Calling the roll, Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
We are in adjournment.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate the time you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.